Mr. Speaker, I thank you. I rise to support these amendments to the County Governments Act. Mr. Speaker, from the onset, let me congratulate once again the distinguished senator from Homa Bay for having really thought out of these amendments, which really brings some sense into the development of these counties. Mr. Speaker, the biggest challenge we have now is the fight of supremacy between the governors and the senators. Our job, Mr. Speaker, is very simple, is defined clearly under Article 96 of the Constitution, is to represent the interests of the counties and their government. Mr. Speaker, it beats logic as to why we should spend sleepless nights here, have 11 votes for more money to go to counties, yet the Senate cannot play a role in determining on how that money should be spent. Let me thank the governor of Nandi for attempting to be able to introduce these amendments to the County Governments Act when he was a senator, because he thought clearly on the role that the Senate should play in terms of ensuring that there is logic in terms when it comes to development of the County Integrated Development Plan, the annual development plan, so that when counties are developing, this issue of inequality can become a thing of the past. Because it doesn't make sense as to why, and I agree entirely with Senator Kajwang, as to why CDF should give bursaries, governors should give bursaries, and at the same time, you find that schools, which are supposed to be developed by CDF, are also being developed by the county governments, which is actually an illegality. I think these forums which are being proposed and these amendments which are being proposed are very important to ensure development and some form of equity in all these counties. Mr. Speaker, if you go to, let's say, the county of Samburu and the county of Narok, you will find that the county government spend more money trying to develop the infrastructure of schools. At the same time, the MPs are bringing in money to buy buses. The county government gives bursaries. The MPs also give bursaries. And when people are very clever, they end up doing what? Getting double the money. But the question to ask is this: how are we able to determine the needy students or the areas which requires a lot of support? There's really no reason as to why we should all be fighting for more money to go to counties. And like Senator Kajwang said, governors are now seeking for an additional 70 billion. But our role become just people who fight, use our brain here to find logic as to why money should go to counties. But when the money gets to counties, we don't want to see any logic being brought by the senators. Let them go there, they'll be able to question us when they want. And even when it comes to questioning and asking and trying to oversight on this, there are hurdles, there are court battles on the issue of oversight. People interpret the Constitution the way they want. I believe when we all have the same interest, and this goes back to Article 96 of the Constitution. My role here as a senator is to defend the interest of my county of Narok and its government. So I want more money to go, but I also want accountability. I also want us to be practical. Narok County sits in a vast land of almost 18,000 square kilometers. I want to make sure that the children in Loita are getting services both from the national government and from the county government. I want to make sure that the children in Kilgoris are getting services. If it is electricity, which is really a function of the national government, and mostly MPs have that mandate where they go and sit down with REA and they are given allocations. There's no reason as to why the county government should be pushing to send electricity there. We all sit down together. Two heads are better than one. In fact, Mr. Speaker, in Masai, we have a saying that says, "Medanyurki mojunobo elashei." There's no way that one brain can be able to determine everything. When you now look at Article 179 of the Constitution, which vests the executive authority in an executive committee, which is the county governor, the deputy governor, and 10 CCs who are not MCAs. This is all from the governor side. It is the governor who determines who can dance to his tune, so I will put him to become a CC of this area. If they now sit down and say, let us develop our CIDP, and from this CIDP, let us take an annual development plan. What tells you that development or that decision will be one that will consider every part of the county? Or what tells you that idea will be one which will be inclusive and guarantees that when we're here fighting for the interest of the county in its entirety, the county governors will also be doing the same, or the executive committee will be doing the same. The amendment into Section 47 of the County Governments Act, in terms of submitting of an annual performance report, is one which currently does not have timelines. And it says, submit it to the County Assembly. I would like to beseech and request Senator Kajwang to further amend that, because when he was submitting here, he indicated that he would want the county governor to submit the report concurrently to their assembly and to the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I see a problem there. And the problem that I see there is premised on what has been happening now when it comes to us trying to question conditional grants. We know very well, Mr. Speaker, that the Senate doesn't oversight on ONSO's revenue. If this annual performance report is a commingle of funds both from the national government and the ONSO's revenue, will there not be questions or will there not be issues when it comes to the Senate oversighting or the Senate looking at that report? My appeal to Senator Kajwang and his committee is to further amend this Section 47 of the County Governments Act and require that within 3 months, or they set up and say we will submit an annual performance report. So within 3 months, after that annual has gone, if we had said that the County Assembly has allocated about 3 million shillings to be used to build an abattoir in Narosura, in Narok County, we don't want a situation whereby after there is no timeline as to when we can be told that was actually done. So I would want them to amend that section further to require that this annual performance report is submitted to the Assembly first. The Assembly become the first point of oversight. They examine that report because they are the ones who passed the budget. Look at it and say the governor has reported that within 3 months, or the report on the annual performance contract is in a report, they said, we built this. Let them go check, and after that, let the county assembly come up with a report and submit it to the Senate. And the reason why I'm arguing like that, Mr. Speaker, is because we know that the county assembly cannot question the governor. In fact, the county assembly will go as far as questioning the CCs of each department, but they will never question the governor. So if we want accountability and we want to be able to see that the laws that we pass here in this house, the laws that we propose to be able to bring proper accountability of resources in this country make sense, let it go through that step of the assembly. From the assembly, let us have a report so that we in this house, can now question the governor on this annual performance report. Mr. Speaker, I'm also quite intrigued by the proposal to have this county development board or what is it called, County Leaders Forum, to change from what Senator, now Governor of Nandi, had in mind to make it a Counties Leaders Forum, because you're bringing leaders together. These leaders are elected together. A governor is elected by the same people who elect a senator and a women representative. You are bringing members of the National Assembly all together. Let's sit down. And I love the fact that the governor, who is the boss of the county government, is given the mantle to become the chair. But because the senator is the one who pushes money to the counties, let him become the vice chair. There is absolutely no reason as to why this annual development plan will end up just becoming paper or other things which are drafted on paper. A lot of these CIDPs, County Integrated Development Plans, end up either not being fulfilled, annual development plan not being met because of various issues. If now we excise out a section of the CIDP and make it an annual development plan, and we say, in Narok County, we are going to build 3 abattoirs. We are going to build 5 markets. We are going to build feeder roads. When I'm here as a senator, my role will be to ensure that during the division of revenue, I fight for more money to go to the county, and now I'll have more reason to be able to even support the governors to get the 70 more billion that they want, because I know that in that leadership forum where we sat, we agreed that X amount of roads will be built this time, and it will consume X amount of money. Mr. Speaker, earlier on we were commenting on a report by the Committee on Agriculture. And if you look at the amount of money which is now being budgeted for the agriculture, which I believe really that agriculture is what should propel this country into a true middle income country. The only amount of money they're getting now is only 3.7% of the budget. This is a devolved function. So if this money is sent to the county governments, the county government ought to increase more money to promote agriculture, not 3.4%. What will 3.4% help? Will 3.4% take care of administrative cost, imaginary benchmarking trips, or will it be able to really invest into the farmers and support them to be able to develop? So, Mr. Speaker, I fully support these amendments, and I do hope that governors will see these as another added advantage of us working together. We work together. We should not be seeing each other as enemies. We should be working towards developing the interest of our people. Mr. Speaker, one of my pet peeves over the last 5 years has been going through the Auditor General report. I support the amendment being brought, not to be looking mostly on what kind of opinion you get when the auditor come in and audit, because the kind of opinion you get right now is based on your documentation. I support the idea that now the Auditor General will be auditing those functions or the performance of that county and give recommendations on how they can improve on those functions that they're supposed to do on their annual development plan. And it will make sense, because right now any clever governor out there can be able to go, sit down with the auditors, put together all the paperwork, but the people who, some of us are paid by their salaries. In fact, all public services servants are paid by their taxes. You know, have those people received the services which they elected you there to be able to go and fight for them to be able to receive? Mr. Speaker, I really do hope, and I would like to beseech all the senators to make time away from their busy campaign schedule now, to make time to come here and make laws that will help us improve the standard of living of our people. The only way we can be able to improve the standard of living of our people is by us coming together, leaders, sitting together in this forum, sharing ideas and being accountable for our people. The culture of corruption in this country is fueled by such resilience, what do you call it? Such, what is the word to use? You know, sometimes when I speak with a lot of, I speak Maasai, you'll translate. I mean, when you're trying to refuse, what is the word to use? I'll remember it. But I think let me summarize it by saying this. The culture of corruption is mostly fueled by this culture of seeing everything as if people are mending into your own affairs or coming in. So you're trying to resist change. In fact, that's the word, resisting. The culture of corruption is fueled by resistance to change and being accommodative to more things, or rather a bigger think tank. This amendment to this act is actually creating a think tank to be able to help propel development in our counties. I support, Mr. Speaker.